You're watching Charter Local Edition from the National Association of Counties Convention in Long Beach. I'm Brett Pomerance. We're joined today by Lee Adams. He is a member of the Board of Supervisors in Sierra County. He is also in leadership as part of an organization called the Rural County Representatives of California. Before we talk about the RCRC, tell me a bit about beautiful Sierra County.
Sure. Sierra County is the second least populated county in the state, about 3,000 people.
That's it?
Yep.
Just 3,000?
1,000 square miles, one incorporated city, Loyalton. County seat of Downeyville is not incorporated. We are about 70% national forest land, and we are bifurcated by the Pacific Crest, so the western side of the county is deep forested canyons of the Tahoe National Forest. Eastern side of the county is high valley, 5,000 elevation foot Sierra Valley. Also a little bit of the Plumas and Toyape National Forest. I
presume your home, your neighbors' homes are beautiful and living in paradise.
It is. It's gorgeous.
And let's talk about rural counties generally, because while we have 58 counties in the state of California, 35, I believe, are part of the organization known as the Rural County Representatives of California. I want to get a sense about the organization. You're a leader in this organization. Talk to us about the unique needs, the unique elements of rural counties.
Sure. RCRC is an independent organization made up today of 35 counties that identify as rural. There's no magic test to get in or out. Sure. But it's those who, again, do identify as rural, see issues that are of importance to be dealt with by both state and federal policymakers to make them aware of the unique needs of rural counties.
And it's got to be challenging because when you think about counties, your county's 3,000 people, it's still 3,000 people that have needs, but when you have LA County with 10 million people, they make more noise.
That's a great point, Brad,
right.
that Don Kanabe always pulls me out of a crowd and
he is Los Angeles County Supervisor.
And he will say, Lee and he have the same responsibility. How we do it is just differently, and I don't know how many staff members he has. I have none.
None.
Don answers to, I think, 2.5 million constituents. I answer to 500 constituents.
So you know them all.
It's just the economy of scale, but we have to supply the same services, and what makes it tricky in rural counties is you do more with less. That's just the reality.
So if you combine all 35 counties, do you know how large the population is in those 35?
No, but I can give you some percentages. Of the 35 RCRC counties that range from Del Norte on the north coast to Imperial on the southeast. We make up about 50% of the landmass of California, but just 9% of the population.
Oh no, that's good exposure and it's good reference.
So about 4 million people, a little under 4 million people.
Let's talk though about some of the land in that 50% of California. That land is beautiful, it's pristine, but it's stressed. It's severely stressed. And we are going through what's known as a tree mortality event that seems to be, our trees are dying off exponentially. We're now at, 66 million trees dying off just in the last few years. Give me a sense of what that looks like, feels like, smells like.
Sure. It's hitting the state differently. It seems to have started in the south and is heading north.
Oh, really?
The governor has proclaimed 10 counties from El Dorado County down to Kern is of critical.
Is Sierra in that group?
We are not. We're in the northern end, so we are still mostly green. We're not seeing it yet, but again,
why?
The science is it's moving north. Don't know if it's temperature-based, water-based, whatever, but again, Madera, Tulare, Mariposa, you'll see entire hillsides, not one green tree to be seen. El Dorado County is starting to see it, and again, the general consensus is it's heading north if we don't see an increase or an end to the drought anytime soon.
So do we know if this die-off is occurring because of the drought or because of the ramifications of the drought, which are a proliferation of the bark beetle, or both?
Yeah, I'm certainly not a scientist, but I think the general consensus is that the drought has stressed trees. It's given the bark beetle a hold. Not having the freezes, not having the normal water cycle we have has put the trees very much at stress. And again, why it's hitting the southern part of the state first versus the north, again, I think maybe the northern part has not had quite the impact of drought that the south has, but it's definitely hitting the south far faster than it has in the north.
But will the north be protected in that this past year we saw an El Nino event that was expected to hit the south but didn't, and it hit the north? So in significant portions of Northern California, the rainfall was average to even above average. So does that provide any protection?
You know, I don't know. Unfortunately, again, it has been creeping north, and
we don't know
this year.
Yeah.
Right, this year it's gotten a stronghold in El Dorado County. My neighboring county of Nevada, they are seeing some die off. Again, we have not seen it yet, but the consensus is that we will see it. But again, we'll see what the weather patterns do in the years ahead.
So what are the ramifications of this die off for your county, Sierra County, for rural California, for all of California?
Sure. We are deep in the heart of the Sierra. Sierra County is 70% national forest land. My district is 90% national forest. I live in a small gold rush town of 300.
Nice.
The national forest comes right down to the community's edge. In fact, my home, my property border is national forest land. We will be devastated if everything turns brown. I mean, you have...
Why?
Well, you have the loss of the scenic beauty, but more importantly, you already have extreme fire danger. In the summer, we will have fire danger year round. And then the great ramification for the balance of the state is, 70% of the 70% of California's water supply is held in the Sierra snowpack. If the trees turn brown and go away, that just devastates the ability of the Sierra to hold that water storage for the rest of the state. So this has ramifications far beyond RCRC counties, and very much has ramifications to the urban centers of California.
So what can we humans do?
Sure. The governor last fall proclaimed a state of emergency, declared 10 counties in that. He's suspended some CEQA rules for getting on top of this and moving trees faster, suspending some legislation.
And when you move trees faster, do you mean that we're moving the dead trees out?
Correct.
And that's important because of snowfall, fire damage?
Fire damage. Create
or fire risk.
Yeah, fire break. So if fire does get going, it can be stopped faster. He's also implored the federal government to increase the pace and scale of federal programs. The Forest Service has had difficulties the last 20 years in which fires have gotten bigger, so more percentage of their annual funding, instead of going toward forest management, it is now flipped where they are spending way more money on fire suppression.
Let me ask you about forest management, because that can be controversial. For many years, forest management meant, we'll just clear everything out. I don't think a lot of Californians would take kindly to that, but how do we kind of get into a mindset where we appreciate that forest management doesn't mean you're clear cutting, it means you're managing the forest in such a way to keep the forest healthy?
I think you've hit a good point that, we've gone, zigzag on management, and maybe we overcut at one point some areas, and then now we're in a point for the last 20 years we've undercut, and we need to find a balance that keeps the forests healthy, doesn't have them overloaded with fuels, because now we're at this sort of perfect storm where we have bug die-off, we have forests that are so overgrown that it is just going to be a disaster. And instead of cutting the trees, we're going to have ridges and ridges just devastated. Fires are burning hotter to where it sterilizes the ground, and then nothing comes back.
Do we want some fire though?
Absolutely. The perfect world would be get back to the natural sequence.
Smokey the Bear.
Exactly. And again, unfortunately, Smokey the Bear had a great idea, but he was too good at it. And again, Mother Nature seems to handle this best. We stepped in and we thought we were doing well, but we love the forest to death.
His name is Lee Adams. He is a supervisor in Sierra County. He is in leadership as part of the Rural County Representatives of California. We're coming to you from NACO in Long Beach. Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.